concerns the lovely town of Costa Mesa, where apparently there's an uproar over the possibility of some people with the coronavirus being transferred there. You see, Travis Air Force Base has been a place where a number of Americans have been housed since they came back from the Diamond Princess cruise ship that had all those problems off of Japan with hundreds of people coming down with the coronavirus. And Travis Air Force Base officials say everyone's got to go. It's like a fire sale. They got to be moved out somewhere. And one of the places that was on the list for the possible relocation of these folks was Costa Mesa's 125-acre Fairview Developmental Center. It's a state-owned facility for people with mental disabilities, but now it's empty. And when Costa Mesa officials found this out, they immediately went to court late last week, and a judge did put a temporary restraining order on this possible transfer of people. Today, there was supposed to be a more permanent legal decision on the matter. Let's go to Corbin Carson, AFI News, to find out what happened. Corbin, welcome.
Hey, guys. Yeah, so we spent about 2.5 hours in the courtroom going over just what you said. Would there be 50 or 30 or 10 or several different numbers of potentially people with coronavirus that have been that have tested positive with the disease, and they needed somewhere to go, as you mentioned, off Travis Air Force Base? And the judge spent all this time questioning the state, questioning the feds, questioning the city, trying to figure out what's the best solution between these three parties. And a lot of different stuff was kicked around. But I got to tell you, one of the best people that could possibly break this down for you, what happened in the courtroom, was just walking by. I grabbed her. I told her, I'm about to go on with John and Ken. This is the mayor of Costa Mesa, Katrina Foley. Katrina, you want to just talk for a second with John and Ken here?
Sure. Hi. How are you, gentlemen?
Oh, good. Katrina, thank you for coming on with us.
Sure. Thank you for discussing this really important issue.
Well, in a nutshell, what's the argument that Costa Mesa has against having these patients transferred?
Well, our main argument is that this decision was made pretty much in the dark of night by the federal and state government without any consultation, evaluation, assessment. We weren't given the same benefit of counties and cities like Ontario or Alabama or Nebraska. This was just thrust upon us. We are the second most populated county in America. We have much density right surrounding this area, lots of single-family and multifamily housing, a golf course, soccer fields, right down the street from City Hall, the fairgrounds, and all kinds of commerce. So it hardly seems like an appropriate location to quarantine and isolate people who have an infectious disease. And is it true that they wouldn't be coronavirus patients, or they would just be people under quarantine that may have coronavirus? Well, that was, the judge was very diligent in trying to drill down on that. And I can tell you right now, I don't know the answer to that question, because the feds said one thing, the state representative said another, and then they changed the position in the hearing. So who knows? But what we were told on Thursday night after 5 p.m. was that the state and the federal government and the CDC had decided that they were going to move 30 to 50 people who had been tested positive for coronavirus. They actually sent us an email, which we have written documentation of this. We're not making it up. And 30 to 50 that tested positive? Correct. Ooh. And so and then the number, kept changing. So we don't know, and I don't think that anyone knows any more after this hearing. So that's why the judge said, look, state and federal government, you need to respond to their written questions and answer their questions. So this Fairview Developmental Center, what is it? Well, it has been a long-time facility for families and individuals with developmental disabilities. I heard you say mental it's developmental disabilities. And so they basically have lived there for their lives with lots of wraparound services. It's essentially vacant right now. We learned at the hearing today that the last client has been moved from the Fairview Development Center, and so there are no more clients there. However, adjacent to the center are lots of families that live there and still get services from the center. There's still 60 to 70 employees who work there every single day, and they weren't even notified. They learned about it because of our press conference. Why was the center emptied out? Oh, that was a decision made many years ago to transition to a different type of assistance for individuals who have developmental disabilities, smaller group home settings, individual homes. That decision has been underway for, I don't know, 5 years.
So as word leaked out around Costa Mesa of this plan, how did people react?
Well, people were very upset, understandably, especially people who live right next door. And so we immediately started fielding calls and texts from not only people who live nearby, but also local representatives from other cities. We had great unity today. The city of Newport Beach filed a friend of the court brief to support our injunctive relief. We also had the Ocean View School District file a friend of the court brief. The county had representatives that brought paperwork to the court, and also it's on their agenda for Tuesday to vote to file a friend of the court brief. And I've been contacting all of my colleagues in Orange County. At our press conference, we had many people represented. So this is we're all unified on this.
Let me ask you this. If we'll take what they sent you as real, right? That 30 to 50 positive testing coronavirus patients were going to be transferred to this facility. Was it discussed at all what would happen if the virus started spreading around town? One of the workers or one of the doctors, nurses, technicians catch it? And
No.
Because for 14 days you don't know you have it, so obviously this could spread really quickly, just a guy going to get lunch at a deli.
Yeah, no,
during
we
his
don't
shift.
have a plan for that. There's no plan for that. They didn't even have a plan, at least that they conveyed to us or to the judge in the courtroom, as to what would happen if, are the people who are treating individuals in the center, are they going to go home at night, or they have to live there? They don't seem to have a plan for anything.
This is crazy.
So where do we stand now, then?
Right now, the court ordered continuance of the stay. The court decided to continue the injunction through next Monday, and we'll have a hearing again next Monday at 2 p.m., same place. And in the meantime, she directed the federal government and the state government to answer our questions, and for the parties to meet and for them to talk to local representatives to try to get a better understanding of what the plan is and why Costa Mesa is being chosen as the only location in all of America for this. Again, very densely populated area, hardly appropriate under any of if you look at our briefing, we detailed all of the extensive protocols and procedures that normally would be followed in a situation like this. We even attached a copy of Ontario went through an evaluative process where they went through many multiple steps. They had coordination with the locals and with the state and federal government, and then decided that site was not appropriate because of a variety of reasons. We didn't get the benefit of any of that process.
And John and Ken, just to be very clear, the judge made it also very clear that she wasn't arguing that the state and the feds have the purview or the right to put this where they want to. The main argument was that there had been a communication breakdown between the city, the feds, and the state on what was going to happen, what was the plan, and what this meant for the community.
And they tried to argue, I think unsuccessfully, that because we filed the lawsuit, that's why the communication broke down. The communication was non-existent, and that's why we had to file the lawsuit. So that's just nonsense.
All right, thank you very much. Katrina Foley, the mayor of Costa Mesa, Corbin Carson from KFI News, right on the site there for the judge who is leaving a temporary restraining order in place until at least Monday, prohibiting the transfer of coronavirus patients into Costa Mesa. More coming up.
John and Ken, KFI, Deborah Marquez News.
Several high-profile athletes and celebrities were at the memorial for...